Joining us now is Kachi Ofia with stories trending around the world. Hello, Kachi. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Tundun. Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning, Captain Fire.
Good morning, viewers. Let's take a look at what's trending today. So Nigerian women have been ranked as the highest users of skin whitening creams on the African continent. The data was taken from the International Journal of Women's Dermatology and published by CNN. Now, Nigeria is closely followed by Senegal at 60%, Mali at 50%, and Ghana at 30%. So skin whitening, it's the use of cosmetic products or services to reduce the amount of melanin or pigment in the skin just to make it appear lighter. Now, I intentionally did not use pictures of women and men who have actually bleached their skin just to respect their decision because, I mean, it's a personal choice. But the major issue here for me is the volume of fake, harmful, and unlicensed creams available in the Nigerian market. I mean, it's completely alarming.
I agree with you here, Kachi, in the sense that it's a person's personal choice, and I'm not going to jump on a soapbox. The fact of the matter is that I mean, it makes sense that Nigeria would be the highest in terms of bleaching because we're the most populous black nation in the world. And bleaching does tend to happen with people who are black or darker skinned, like Asians bleach. A lot of people in India bleach. I think they're number 2 in the world after Nigeria. You have like a massive industry in the Philippines. Even in Japan, they have all kinds of whitening products because of colonialism and white is right mentality. So if you don't bleach as a person, that's your individual choice not to bleach your skin, that white is right mentality still rears its ugly head in so many other insidious ways. I mean, we have a lot of conversations here during the breaks, and I'll share one vignette with you. I was telling these 2 gentlemen earlier today about Ijaw bone setters. There was somebody that I know who had a serious fracture and was advised to go to a hospital and was told by his family that, no, we have Ijaw bone setters, they can take care of it. And I countered that, and I was accused of all kinds of tribalism, elitism, name it, I was accused. But in the end, that option was taken, and that gentleman lost his leg. It was amputated. So what that says to me is not a case of elitism or me thinking that the white man's medicine in a hospital is the only thing that's legitimate. But it also says to me the fact that, yes, Ijaw bone setters, I'm sure many years ago would have handled this problem with ease, but because of that white is right mentality, this current generation is not being trained in the ways of our fathers. We had the DG of NAFDAC as a guest on this show recently, Dr. Adeyeye, and she was talking about how she was so interested in traditional medicine, and her family had these huge resources that had been recorded from, generations, and all of that was destroyed because the person who had custody of all those, that notebook, she was referring to a notebook, thought that traditional medicine is demonic. So before you point the finger at people bleaching, you have to address what is within you that has accepted the myth that white people are superior to black people, because bleaching is just one way that it reflects itself. You look at people feeling the need to put on an accent, that their educational background or where they've lived does not justify that accent because they think that it makes them sound sophisticated. You look at even what happened with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry when she talks about somebody in the royal family wondering if the baby would be dark, and black people all over the world were up in arms. And I found that really hypocritical because a lot of black people, a lot of Nigerians, it's been said to me personally that, oh, I hope your baby is not going to be dark like you. I hope they take the other person's color, because we all think that white is right. It's this congenital self-loathing at this point, and it does, it reflects itself in all kinds of ugly ways. Skin bleaching is just one.
In 1968, I think it was James Brown who released that song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and Proud. Right? You know that song?
Say it.
Yes.
Well, okay. Kachi is not responding. She's wondering where she was in 1968. Now, here in Nigeria, a few years back, Two-Face released one groundbreaking, iconic song, African Queen. Also, celebrating the African woman, the dark skin, and all of that. But what we're dealing with is a universalization of the concept of beauty. The assumption is that the lighter skinned you are, the more acceptable you are. You know, and it also has to do with class. It has to do with the level of acceptability, and it happens across countries. And what is blamed for this is one, colorism, what is called colorism. You know, also colonialism, and also, you know, people having issues about self-identity. In other words, people behaving like Uncle Tom, you know, as we're told, you know, in the literature. So this is the problem that we have. A few years ago, I think about 5-6 years ago, I wrote a piece called, titled, The Bleaching Chameleonic Crowd, in which I looked at this particular phenomenon in Nigeria. And now we're being told 75% of Nigerian women like to bleach. Well, bad news, Nigerian men also bleach. I've seen some of them, you know, using a bleaching cream. And it's all about some of those factors that we have talked about. Nollywood is a major culprit in this regard. You know, ladies in Nollywood will tell you that except they are light-skinned, you know, they don't get as many jobs as people, you know, who are lighter skinned, because they say that skin is not given, it's not good for the camera. I've even had some ignorant people around, you know, around me telling me that, oh, you look very dark on television. And I say, well, deal with it. I'm black and proud, as James Brown said. So this is the problem we have. And then people begin to develop complexes and they begin to bleach. In Nigeria, you know, the major headquarters is Ikeja, under the bridge. You find people there going there to bleach. They buy something they call Egyptian milk. They buy Spanish milk. There are also tablets. One tablet called Movit, which they use. You use the tablet about 3-4 times a week, and your skin is supposed to be, you know, to start improving. In Yaba, the major entrepreneur is one Mama Tega. You know, and I understand that there are certain procedures you pay as much as 250,000 naira, you know, to just take an injection so that your skin will change. But there are risks involved. There are health risks involved. And I don't think that the average Nigerian woman is receiving enough education about the risks involved. I think the whole point about negritude is about you feeling comfortable in your own skin. But the politics of colorism is misleading a lot of young people. The most recent one was GQ, you know, putting black ladies, dark-skinned ladies on the... Is Vogue? Yeah. It's Vogue, not GQ. GQ is a gentleman's magazine.
Burst, though, making them blacker than they are.
Yeah, so this is a problem, man. People say, oh, you are too dark, and it's a problem. But I don't see a problem with darkness. And I find it very amusing that there are some men in Nigeria too are bleaching their skins. And I look at them and I say, well, what kind of man is this? You know, and as for the women, they make that choice. But people should just focus on the implications, cancer, on if you deal with if you remove, delete your pigmentation, the melanin, you know, what then happens to you subsequently. Public education, we will have.
So, Dr. Abati, you sang a song. Tundu's giving an insight. Let me sing a song too. I think the song of Bob Nestor Marley is very important. It says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And that's what is happening here.
Redemption song.
Redemption song, Bob Nestor Marley. If you were to take this survey in 1851 or 1852, before the British aboard the HMS Prometheus took over Lagos after helping Akitoye fight Kosoko off, the numbers will be different. But you see what colonialism does, it seeps into your consciousness. And how did they do it? They started with the language. Who says English is the perfect language for us?
Exactly.
Why are we even speaking English in the first place? This is not my language. For the fact that I'm speaking English on TV means I'm still carrying the shackles of colonialism. I like to speak my Ijebu dialect on TV. Why is it that they tell me that I'm not educated because I don't speak English in a certain way, when I have not learnt Ijebu properly, and I can't say Kimishewe properly? And how did they do this? They used the media. They used the media to tell us all sorts of lies. This is what the British did. Lugard and his wife, Flora Shaw, told us all sorts of lies with the media, with the Times. saying Lugard was a hero of Nigeria when we know Lugard was a destroyer of this country. And they told us all the lies because they had the prints to themselves. They said we were not capable of being human beings. In fact, some of our Congolese brothers were taken to circus and compared to animals in other parts of Europe. The likes of Pierre Pablo de Gaza and the likes of Stanley Morton that discovered the Congo. They said we were savages and we're animals. And this has seeped into our consciousness. And with the evolution of beauty care products, they said you have to be white. But I'm happy because we black people are challenging that. That's why I say kudos to Miss Robin Fenty Rihanna for bringing out a makeup line that shows every shade of black. At least now we know that we don't have to use white makeup. And we need to fight this in every area because they've hijacked our minds. And that's why if Arise TV reports something, some Nigerians will say, unless British media reports it, they wouldn't take it as the truth. We need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds.
I couldn't agree with you more there, Rufai. But let's talk about what's going on in Lagos, Nigeria. Big question mark here. Suspected thieves breaking into an Arik aircraft parked at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, stealing very valuable gadgets. Now, this breaking, according to findings, left the Boeing 737 aircraft grounded with its flight management computer FMC and other accessories missing. Now, this Boeing 737-3V was rated between 11 p.m. on Wednesday night when the plane was parked and 7 a.m. on Thursday, which happened to be the 20th of January. And this was when the breaking was first noticed. So, to put this in better perspective, the item that is the bone of contention here was the FMC. You know, it's a fundamental component of a modern airliner's gadgets, and it's about $300,000 right now. It automates a wide variety of in-flight tasks. So while researching on this issue, there was an anonymous source that's close to the airline revealing to a blogger, Moji Delano, that someone, which obviously is one of the thieves, gain access to the electronic bays where they have all the systems, and that the CCTV should have been on, but there hasn't been anything said to that effect. And it is also believed, you know, according to this source, to be an internal sabotage, which again is odd because in December 2021, Arik Air was trending because they had let go of about 41 pilots and they were requesting for improved welfare. This caused a huge stir online. So people are just trying to piece the puzzle together as to how exactly this could have happened at the airport in Lagos with all the security and, I mean, all the expected, let me use that word, security that should have been available.
Okay, Kachi, well, this is a question of security at the airports. Nigeria has a total of about 20 airports. But again and again, we keep hearing about security breaches at these various airports. So if it is not Kaduna Airport, which had an incident the other time, it will be Port Harcourt Airport, also having issues, you know, either cow, running into aircraft, or people making away with things inside aircraft, as has now happened at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. So this is a clear case of negligence on the part of the security authorities at the airports, because the people in the aviation sector, they will tell you that security is the most important thing in aviation. Security, safety, right? Security of the environment, safety in terms of operations. And we find the Nigerian authorities always dropping the ball in this regard. I think that the Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria, FAM, that is responsible for the management of the airports, will have to offer us some explanation in this particular instance. Also, the National Civil Aviation Authority, which is the regulatory body, should also be something of concern. Now the question, how can you have an aircraft parked at an airport that is supposed to be a major security zone, and then somebody will go into it and take the computer, the flight maintenance computer? It sounds bizarre to me. Is there a case of collusion? Is this a case of internal sabotage? Are there staff of the airline who made it possible, who colluded with these bandits? These are the relevant questions that should be investigated. Otherwise, don't be surprised. One day we will just wake up, we will hear that a whole aircraft has disappeared from a Nigerian airport, and nobody will know how the thing disappeared. And both NCAA and FAN, they will come around and say, well, this aircraft was here. They will end up that maybe it was a witchcraft that was used to remove it. So these are some of the issues I think it should be investigated. Our airports should not be taken over by bandits or by a criminal syndicate. His computer, they have his flight computer that they have taken this time around. They have turned the aircraft in Nigeria into vehicles. When you park your vehicle in certain parts of Lagos, they remove your side mirror. One of these days, they will remove tires from aircraft in Nigeria. The thing is so ridiculous.
Yes. It really is. And I hate it when people say only in Nigeria, but I'm sorry, only in Nigeria. This is embarrassing. It's nothing sacred, Kachi.
Not today, now, Dr. Abati. You see, this country we are looking for ship till tomorrow now. Ship with crude oil inside a tanker. It's the same in this country. We don't know how much petrol we consume every day and we subsidize. We don't know. We don't know. All of a sudden, we say it's 50 million liters per day. All of a sudden, they say 100 million. We don't know how much. We don't even know what we are subsidizing.
It's honestly a laugh. It's a good laugh, Rufai. Anyway, do we have more time? I think we can take the final story, which I think you would also find interesting. Now, following the cancellation of President Muhammadu Buhari's visit to Zamfara State over poor weather, the president has now admitted that he is overwhelmed by the security situation in the northwest region of the country. Now, the president said this at the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, on Thursday. And now he also noted that the security situation in the northeast and south-south has improved. I mean, he's asking Nigerians to be fair in their judgment because the situation has improved compared to when he assumed office. And then he maintained that his administration has been doing its absolute best. He also said the military and law enforcement agencies have been giving a clear order that they should not spare any bandits or terrorists.
You see, it's overwhelmed. It's overwhelming for everybody, but that's why he was voted in as the leader. You take responsibility, you fix it. Yes, we're all going through a rough patch in Nigeria, but that's why we have a president that should take responsibility. And he was voted in predominantly because of his record in the military, that he can fix things. Security situation has improved. Let's not deceive ourselves. It has not improved, Kachi. It has not improved. It's not improved. It's indicative. The stats are there. See, I know some people want to say, okay, things are getting better and all of that. But you see, in God I trust, everything else is data. In 2015, did we have close to 10,000 people die from insecurity? No, that was not the case. In 2015, look at the metrics. Were we fighting banditry? No, we only knew that the group we fighting was Boko Haram and crime. But look at it today. Everywhere there's bandits, or terrorists, as you even call them bandits again. Then there's Boko Haram. Then there's unknown gunmen. We don't even know what we are dealing with. Everybody's getting kidnapped by the day. Ishara, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. People are getting kidnapped. The facts are there. The situation is not improving. Do we want it to improve? Yes. Can we work on it? Yes. But has it improved? No. The stats are there. And it's not to berate anybody. Let's now think of how we can work to improve it. You might be overwhelmed, but you have to whelm yourself out of that being overwhelmed to do the job. Because uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. And if there's insecurity, the first person anybody will call is the president. So, Mr. President, please don't be overwhelmed. Get back to work. We need to do it and make this country safe for all of us.
Well, I agree with you there, Rufai, but I do like it when President Buhari keeps it real. I don't see anything wrong with expressing vulnerability and the fact that he does find the situation overwhelming. However, for me, I prefer, as a citizen, and he's my leader, a comma rather than a full stop. I don't want, I'm overwhelmed, full stop. I want, I'm overwhelmed, however, you know, these are the actions that I've been taking, and also addressing the long-term rather than just a short-term shoot-at-sight order, which I'm yet to hear was even affected. The long-term issue is the lack of education, those out-of-school children, just the grinding poverty, the misery. When people are dehumanized by poverty, they do feel this kind of nihilistic instincts towards everybody else, and they go on the rampage, and that's really what we're seeing. So we now have this army of poor, completely demoralized people, no hope, no respect for the lives of others, because no respect has been shown to their lives, which is what people have always said about this banditry issue and why it started in the first case. All of that needs to be addressed. So I'm glad that he expressed that vulnerability. I don't have a problem with it, but, solutions, please.
Well, let's put all of this in context. The president was at the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto. He talked about the government being overwhelmed by the security situation. In the Northwest, it was very specific. He said the Northwest. In the same statement, he made a point that there has been a lot of improvement in the Northeast and the South-South between 2015 and now. And then finally, he said that his administration is committed to leaving the security situation in Nigeria better than he met it. And consistently, he has said, look, he's trying his best. So it's specific to the Northwest. What we can now say to the president is that, look, it's not enough for him to say he's overwhelmed in the Northwest. It's for him and the administration to see what they can do to make sure that the situation is addressed, so that he will be able, before he leaves office, he will be in a good position to talk about the same improvement that he talks about in the Northeast and also the South-South. Security having been established as something that is very important to the development process. Security having been spelled out in Section 14 of the Constitution as one of the major purposes of government. So no part of the country, should be, problematic, and the president should not be overwhelmed about any part of the country. The government should continue to make the effort. Thank you very much, Kachi. Thank you very much indeed. So that's where we'll leave it today. Yes, enjoy your weekend.